Grover Cleveland. He became the 24th President of the United States on March 4, 1893. He was also selected for presidency in 1885. He believed that the Sherman-Silver Act was the root of the economic troubles that the country was facing, and he was successful in forcing its repeal despite opposition from his own party. On June 24, 1907, Grover Cleveland suffered a heart attack and passed away at the age of 71. He was buried at Princeton Cemetery of the Nassau Presbyterian Church. William McKinley. He was the 25th President of the United States. He served from March 4, 1897, until his assassination on September 14, 1901. He led the country during a time of economic growth and expansion, including the Spanish-American War, which resulted in the United States gaining territories like Puerto Rico and the Philippines. McKinley was known for his support of protective tariffs and the gold standard, and his presidency marked the beginning of the progressive era. Theodore Roosevelt, he often called Teddy Roosevelt, was the 26th President of the United States and served from September 14, 1901, to March 4, 1909. Roosevelt was known for his energetic personality, progressive policies, and love of nature. He expanded the role of the presidency, championed conservation efforts by creating national parks and forests. He also played a significant role in diplomacy, winning the Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating an end to the Russo-Japanese War. William Howard Taft. Howard was the 27th President of the United States. He served from March 4, 1909, to March 4, 1913. Taft was born on September 15, 1857, in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was a Republican and also served as the 10th Chief Justice of the United States from 1921 to 1930. Taft is known for his efforts in trust busting and for his role in the establishment of the federal income tax. He passed away on March 8, 1930. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson became the 28th President of the United States on March 4, 1913. Wilson's presidency was marked by his efforts to enact progressive reforms and his leadership during World War I. After the war, he played a key role in the negotiations that led to the Treaty of Versailles and the creation of the League of Nations, although the United States ultimately did not join the League. Warren Harding. Warren was the 29th President of the United States. He served from March 4, 1921, until his death on August 2, 1923. Harding's presidency was marked by scandal, including the infamous Teapot Dome scandal, which involved government corruption. Despite these controversies, he also advocated for a return to normalcy after World War I, focusing on domestic issues like economic recovery and reducing government involvement in business. Calvin Coolidge. Calvin became the 30th President of the United States on August 2, 1923. Coolidge was known for his quiet demeanor and conservative policies. He believed in limited government intervention in the economy and is often remembered for saying, "The business of America is business." Coolidge's presidency saw economic prosperity and technological advancements, but it also faced challenges like the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. Herbert Hoover. He was the 31st President of the United States and served from March 4, 1929 to March 4, 1933. Hoover's presidency was dominated by the Great Depression, which began shortly after he took office. Despite his efforts to address the economic crisis through public works projects and other measures, Hoover's administration struggled to effectively combat the widespread unemployment and financial hardship facing the nation. Hoover's inability to resolve the crisis led to his defeat in the 1932 presidential election. Franklin D. Roosevelt, often called FDR, was the 32nd President of the United States. He served from March 4, 1933, until his death on April 12, 1945. Roosevelt led the country through two of its greatest crises, the Great Depression and World War II. His New Deal programs aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform during the Depression, including measures like Social Security and the creation of jobs through public works projects. As a president during World War II, Roosevelt guided the nation through the conflict until his passing just before its conclusion. Harry S. Truman. He became the 33rd President of the United States on April 12, 1945. Truman became president upon the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt during the final months of World War II. He made the decision to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ending the war with Japan. Truman also implemented policies to rebuild Europe through the Marshall Plan and established the Truman Doctrine to contain communism. He was re-elected for a second term in 1948. Dwight D. Eisenhower, often called Ike, was the 34th President of the United States. He served from January 20th, 1953 to January 20th, 1961. Eisenhower was a five-star general in the U.S. Army during World War II, leading Allied forces to victory in Europe. As president, he focused on domestic issues like improving infrastructure, advancing civil rights, and maintaining peace during the Cold War. Eisenhower also warned against the growing influence of the military-industrial complex in his farewell address. John F. Kennedy, commonly known as JFK, was the 35th President of the United States on January 20th, 1961, until his assassination on November 22, 1963. Kennedy was known for his charisma, inspiring speeches, and efforts to advance civil rights and space exploration. During his presidency, he faced challenges such as the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the United States and the Soviet Union came close to nuclear war. Kennedy's assassination in Dallas, Texas, shocked the nation and led to widespread mourning. Lyndon B. Johnson, often referred to as LBJ, was the 36th President of the United States. He served from November 22, 1963 to January 20, 1969. Johnson assumed the presidency following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. He is remembered for his ambitious domestic agenda, known as the Great Society, which aimed to eliminate poverty and racial injustice. Johnson's presidency also saw significant social reforms, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. However, his administration was also marked by escalating involvement in the Vietnam War, which became increasingly unpopular among the American public. Richard M. Nixon. Richard became the 37th President of the United States on January 20th, 1969. Nixon's presidency was marked by both significant achievements and controversy. He implemented policies such as the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency and established diplomatic relations with China. However, Nixon's involvement in the Watergate scandal, which involved illegal activities to undermine political opponents, led to his resignation from office, making him the only U.S. president to resign from the position. Gerald R. Ford. He was the 38th President of the United States. He served from August 9, 1974 to January 20, 1977. Ford became president following the resignation of Richard Nixon in the wake of the Watergate scandal. He is remembered for his efforts to heal the nation's wounds and restore trust in government. Ford granted Nixon a full pardon for any crimes he may have committed while in office, a decision that was controversial at the time. Additionally, Ford faced challenges such as inflation and the aftermath of the Vietnam War during his presidency. James Carter, commonly known as Jimmy Carter, was the 39th President of the United States. He served from January 20th, 1977 to January 20th, 1981. Carter was a peanut farmer and former governor of Georgia before becoming president. His presidency focused on promoting human rights and seeking peaceful solutions to international conflicts. However, Carter faced challenges at home, including an energy crisis and high inflation, which contributed to his defeat in the 1980 presidential election. Ronald Reagan. He was the 40th President of the United States on January 20th, 1981. Reagan, a former actor and governor of California, was known for his conservative policies and optimism. Often referred to as the Reagan Revolution, his presidency focused on reducing government involvement in the economy, cutting taxes, and increasing military spending. Despite facing challenges such as recession and the Iran-Contra scandal, Reagan remains a popular figure among many Americans. George H.W. Bush, often referred to as George Bush or simply Bush Sr., became the 41st President of the United States on January 20th, 1989. Bush was a former vice president under Ronald Reagan and had a long career in public service, including as a congressman, ambassador, and CIA director. As president, he led the country during a time of significant international change, including the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War, which expelled Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Bush also faced criticism for economic issues, including a recession during his presidency. William J. Clinton, commonly known as Bill Clinton, was the 42nd President of the United States, served from January 20th, 1993 to January 20th, 2001. Clinton was known for his charisma and ability to connect with people. During his presidency, he focused on domestic issues such as the economy, healthcare reform, and welfare reform. Clinton also played a key role in international affairs, including efforts to broker peace in the Middle East and involvement in NATO's intervention in the Bosnian War. George W. Bush. He became the 43rd President of the United States on January 20, 2001. Bush, the son of former President George H.W. Bush, was known for his strong stance on national security and foreign policy, particularly in response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. During his presidency, he initiated military campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq as part of the War on Terror. Additionally, Bush implemented domestic policies such as tax cuts and education reform. But his administration faced criticism for its handling of Hurricane Katrina and the economic recession of 2008. Barack Obama. He was the 44th President of the United States. He served from January 20, 2009 to January 20, 2017. Obama made history as the first African-American president. During his time in office, he focused on issues like healthcare, the economy, and climate change. One of his most well-known accomplishments was the Affordable Care Act, which aimed to make healthcare more accessible and affordable for Americans. Obama's presidency was marked by efforts to promote equality and address social issues. Donald Trump. He became the 45th President of the United States on January 20, 2017. Trump, a businessman and television personality, won the presidency as a Republican candidate. During his presidency, he focused on issues such as immigration, trade, and tax reform. Trump's administration implemented policies aimed at reducing regulations on businesses and renegotiating trade deals. He also faced controversies and impeachment proceedings related to his conduct in office. Joseph R. Biden, commonly known as Joe Biden, is the 46th President of the United States. He has been serving since January 20, 2021. Biden, a longtime politician, previously served as vice president under Barack Obama. During his presidency, Biden has focused on issues such as the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, racial justice, and economic recovery. He has proposed various policy initiatives, including infrastructure investment and expansion of healthcare access. Biden's presidency marks a return to more traditional political norms and a focus on unity and bipartisanship.